What up, Salvador Briggman here, and in today's video, we are getting into the 7 key reasons why your Kickstarter campaign will fail. If you don't follow these golden rules, chances are your campaign will likely fail on Kickstarter, and I'll also explain why that is the case. On this channel, I like to talk about not only how to bring a new product into the world, how to get funding for an idea, but really how to have more success in your life and in this area of your life. And since 2012, I had been demystifying the crowdfunding game for people just like you who are getting started. Some of my students have actually launched even more than one campaign, and they're still trying to understand the inner workings of how these crowdfunding campaigns are launched consistently and are consistently funded. So I've tried to do that not only with this YouTube channel, but also with my podcast, the Crowdfunding Demystified Podcast, with my website, crowdcrux.com, which I launched first in my arsenal, and also with my books, my courses, and all the free information that I try to put out there to help people just like you. My father, who actually was an inventor of sorts, had a really great saying ever since I was little, which was KISS, which is keep it simple, and we'll just kind of keep it PG, keep it simple, silly, right? So that's what I'm gonna try to do in this video, is share with you these reasons that your campaign will fail. Let's get into it. Reason number 1 is the video on your Kickstarter campaign. Now, actually, when I was getting started in crowdfunding and I was living in Brooklyn, New York, all the time I would come across 6-figure campaigns that got funding on Kickstarter that did not have a video, and it had really sparse design as well. And it was also like so crazy, and this is back in the early days, right? Even things like the potato salad Kickstarter campaign, which raised $50,000 or more just to make potato salad, which is insane, right? Those were kind of like the gold rush, if you want to think of it, when crowdfunding was just getting started. And back in the early days, maybe you could be successful without a video. And I started to realize more and more that the more that you had a great quality video, the more successful you were likely to be. However, I will have people in my audience who are like, Sal, I see this campaign and it doesn't have a great video. Does that mean I don't need a video, right? Well, first of all, I was telling my audience, you gotta relax. This is gonna be a journey. This is a process in launching a campaign. And actually, if you look into the archives of my podcast, I've tried to have on counter stories to what the best practices are. I've had on people that have raised 6 figures on Kickstarter without a video and have done it recently. So there are examples of success as well, like tabletops and tarot card decks that have raised money without a video. However, what I will say is that if you don't have a video, or you don't have a good video, this is literally the #1 reason why you will not be successful on Kickstarter. It is a best practice. To further expand on that, there's also best practices around the duration of the video, what the storyboard looks like for that video, what the script looks like when it comes to that video. But I would say the #1 one is that if you don't have a compelling and engaging video that maintains attention with your Kickstarter campaign, this is the #1 reason why you will fail. Or I recently had a client that didn't want to do a video. They launched a campaign, they got like 15K that they raised on Kickstarter, but they could have raised probably 3, 4, or 5 times more had they had a video. So you're just missing out, you're cutting corners, right? And if you're gonna be putting in all the work to launch a campaign, you might as well have a video with it. Numero 2 in this list, and I say numero 2 because I was actually adopted from El Salvador and I've been learning more and more Spanish as I've been going. I recently moved from Brooklyn to Miami, Florida, and my Spanish just kind of went through the roof. I started to learn a lot more Spanish as well, because you actually get better prices at restaurants if you speak Spanish in Miami. So when I was traveling a lot in like Colombia and different countries, my Spanish started to get a little bit better. But number 2 is the actual campaign page. The campaign page itself is the next big reason that your Kickstarter campaign will fail. And I've actually had a lot of different students who will get tons of traffic to their campaign. They'll actually do what I teach, right, when it comes to that. But the problem is that the traffic, let's say you get like 1,000 people, right, on your campaign page. If you have a really low conversion rate, what that means is that a small percentage of those people actually back the campaign or actually support it. So if you want to have the maximum number of people back your project, you gotta have a good crowdfunding campaign page. And by good, I mean you gotta have the right headlines, you gotta have the right formatting, you gotta have a good copy, creative, graphics, GIFs, and really sell that experience, ideally in a thematic way. If you don't have a good Kickstarter campaign page, that is the #2 reason that you will fail with your Kickstarter campaign, or you won't raise as much as you hoped. Number 3 is, again, a really critical component in any kind of Kickstarter campaign, and it's category agnostic. So it doesn't matter which category you're launching in. This is literally the number 3 thing you got to get right, or your campaign is going to fail. And I can explain a little bit why that is, but when I was writing my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, what I didn't realize as well is that this is actually a huge problem area for many different campaign creators. I was getting feedback as I was passing around drafts of my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula. People were like, you gotta have more section and more content on your perks and your rewards, which is number 3. So if you have a great video and campaign page, that will get attention. And what it will do is it will sort of build that backer mindset where they wanna participate. They want to help. They wanna be a part of the movement. They're excited, they're inspired, man. They wanna be a part of your tribe, right? But if you don't have the right rewards or perks, you can't convert that attention into a monetary dollar figure. You can't get them funding the project. You can't have your meter going up and up and up because you don't have the right perks and rewards. And it kind of goes beyond that. It's also about the pricing structure. It's as well about what I call the waterfall effect, which is having certain rewards sell out to create anticipation and urgency as you're going throughout the launch process. And if you have the right perks and rewards, not only the pricing, what you're offering, but the structure of them as well, then you can have a really great project. But if you fail to do that, you're either gonna have people confused, and confused people never buy. Confused people never take action. So keep it simple, adhere to the correct format when it comes to rewards, the pricing as well. And I've seen this really bite people in the behind as well. If you don't do this, and if you make mistakes in the reward to your process, specifically when it comes to pricing, it's gonna hurt you later on when it comes to the brand. Number 4 is also something that my tennis coach, when I was in high school and also in college, would always tell me was a problem area in my tennis game. So I actually played a lot of different sports when I was growing up. I played baseball. I was a big baseball player. I was playing shortstop and second base, and also did a little bit of pitching here and there. But my big sports were baseball, tennis, and fencing. I actually did fencing for over 10 years, and I was a foil fencer as well. And I continued to have like these sort of sticking points. And one of those sticking points was follow through, right? I was really good about having lots of energy and getting started and getting the ball where I wanted to and placing it and having that strategy. But the follow through element was always a bit of a challenge for me when it came to my racket swing, and also as well when it came to my fencing game. And follow through in the form of Kickstarter for me would be posting updates. So this is another massive critical area that if you don't do this, I'll explain why, you're going to fail with your project. And I did have an experience with this early on in my career. I'm not going to mention the project or the client name, where we actually did really well with getting attention, getting people to take action. But all of a sudden people started to be like, wait, is this a scam project? Why are there no updates? Why is there no follow through? Why is there no follow up, right, when it comes to the news around this project? If you don't have updates, which you're posting, and the update frequency varies by category to category when it comes to best practices, if you don't keep people in the loop, they are going to assume the worst, right? They're going to assume you're scamming them, you're taking their money, you don't care, you're not invested in the process, you don't really are doing anything when it comes to the actual project. You gotta make sure to have the right updates for your project, not only to have good follow through with your crowdfunding game, but also to make sure that those people build an emotional investment with you and they want to share your project. You can do things like stretch goals and add-ons, right? And you can use those updates to get people sharing your project after you launch it. So updates are a critical area. I know it seems really small, but the backer psychology is huge. And I've had campaigns where if you don't do the right updates, people might back out at the end of the campaign. They might cancel their pledge, and you don't want to have that happen. So make sure you do your updates. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. The next component that you gotta have right in order to have a successful campaign, if you don't have right, your campaign literally will fail. I virtually guarantee you, is the marketing component, and more specifically, the digital marketing component. Now, marketing is not something that I was necessarily born being good at. I do think I have more of a natural proclivity when it comes to marketing and sales, and also I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love getting people's attention. I love driving traffic. It's so fun to me to be able to put marketing together for other people, select clients that I work with, or helping coaching students as well put together their marketing. It's literally something that like I am passionate about. It gives me chills all the time when it goes right. Like it's so cool. And even when I was like younger and I was interning at Springboard Enterprises, which is actually a nonprofit organization. I was helping women entrepreneurs get funding because there's actually a funding gap between male and female entrepreneurs in venture capital funding. And I was helping with that organization to help them do that. I actually wrote an article that was a little bit controversial in the space. I'm not going to go into the details, but it got like thousands and thousands of views online. And that's really when I discovered that, that's marketing is just in my blood. Sales and marketing is something I love to do, but it's not the case for everyone. So when it comes to your Kickstarter campaign, you need to have a marketing plan, not only when you go live, but also to continue to keep people that have already backed the campaign excited about sharing the word and spreading the word about your project. By digital marketing, what I mean is, how do you maintain momentum? How are you gonna get attention when you actually go live with this launch event? How are you gonna get a rush of funding immediately when you go live so that you can trigger the Kickstarter algorithm and you can start ranking in the charts? What about your plan when it comes to PR, media mentions? Have credibility when it comes to influencers and nationwide brands talking about your project and getting headlines. You need to have a marketing strategy leading up to the project and also when you're live in order to make sure that you not only smash through your Kickstarter goal, but you raise far more than you ever imagined possible. This is a great segue to the topic we're gonna get into next, which is the next item where if you don't do this, dude, your campaign is going to fail. It's gonna go down the drain, down the tubes, and that is the pre-launch. So if you want to think about it, you ever host a party or you ever have some people over or you're going to have a great event and you're all trying to go on like vacation somewhere with some of your friends or a group of friends, do you just say, hey, let's go tomorrow and let's do this thing, right? You don't say, hey, I'm having a party tomorrow, go and show up, right? You usually kind of seed that idea a little bit in their mind before it actually happens, right? So that way they're warmed up to the concept and they know when it's happening, they know the date, they know to show up, they know what to bring, they know the type of party. Maybe it's like an all-white party or something like that. I don't know, it could be really fun. But you want to have a little bit of a warming up process before you then announce it, right? Very similar analogy when it comes to your Kickstarter campaign, which is you want to warm people up to what it is you're doing in terms of the Kickstarter campaign before you go live. So for example, let's say you've invented a new product, right? You invented a new product. My dad loves to invent products. Maybe you've come up with something that's a game-changing solution, a problem which you've solved. The question is, how do you get people to back it immediately? Well, you start by warming them up to the problem, the solution, the materials you've developed in order to get this into a full-fledged prototype. Does it work, right? Showing them the iterations, the design, making them realize that they can have a say in whether or not this product exists in the world. And all they have to do is back your project to have a vote of confidence that yes, this product should exist in the world. And they want to be able to say they supported it and have that product show up on their doorstep, right? So that is a decision-making process. And the sooner you get started with a pre-launch campaign, the easier it's going to be that when you do launch that Kickstarter, people fund it immediately, instantly. And that's the number one thing I'd say that many of my guests on the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast continue to reiterate. And again, one of the major components, if you don't do it, you are likely to fail with your Kickstarter campaign. The final element in this list is you gotta get access to the right information and you gotta surround yourself with the right people. In addition, ideally, I would add to that, you gotta have the right members on your team when you're launching your Kickstarter campaign. But let's start with the first item, which is you gotta get access to the right information. If you wanna get good at something, read a book on it, right? If you're going to be studying to become a doctor, you gotta read a lot of books. If you wanna learn how to do something better in your life, for example, you wanna learn how to play chess, right? You could go and you could play many different games of playing chess or a game or something like that. You can play many different games and you could slowly get better and better. But if you actually wanted to get better in the shortest time span possible, what would you do? You'd go to the library and you'd pick up a chess strategy book and you'd read through chess strategy and be like, oh, okay, this is the general strategy as to how to do better at the game of chess. And I actually did that. You know, I sucked at playing chess when I first got started playing. My uncle would like always beat me and I got fed up with it. I read a book on chess strategy and I learned all the different moves you can make and how to actually have attack and defensive maneuvers. And eventually, I was very easily able to win at the game of chess. And I also went to the chess club. I learned from a bunch of other people who were way smarter than me and kind of surrounded myself with mentors, I guess, in that area. It's just like a micro example of if you have access to the right information, you surround yourself with the right people and voices, you seek out mentors, and most importantly, you bring people on your team who can help you, you can be far more successful much, much faster. So diving into videos like this, listening to the podcast that I have, the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast, which is available on iTunes and Spotify, literally just being a fly on the wall, hearing what other people have done in order to get funding for the project is the number one thing that you can do to really shorten that gap and make sure you don't make any of those mistakes. If you don't listen to the right podcasts, if you don't watch the right YouTube videos, if you don't listen to the right people, read the right books like the Kickstarter launch formula, you're gonna launch the project then realize, oh man, I should have done this, or I should have done that. I should have launched it this way. I should have built the foundation differently. And then you're kind of like, cursing yourself because like, why didn't I just spend like an hour and learn a little bit about this, and it could have been way more successful. Bro, I will admit though that it's hard. Life is busy. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. So if you do want to speed up this process, I decided to make myself available to the community via individual one-on-one coaching calls. And really this is for people that want to invest a bit in the process in the same way you might hire a lawyer or hire an accountant to help you with your business. Business is really a team sport. And if you want to surround yourself with the right people, you can go down below and you can book an individual coaching call with me through an intensive coaching call. Not only can we talk about your unique case and project and resources, but also what you got to do in order to get funding for this. Is Kickstarter even the right platform that you should be going with? What is the correct strategy given your resources and also the audience and the industry that you're going after? And I do also work selectively, individually with certain campaigns if it has a big enough impact and something that I believe in. In addition, I got a great free course out there on Kickstarter. If you're not yet ready to invest in yourself, you're not yet ready to invest bringing someone to help you and coach you and guide you through this process, go and check out my free course down below on Kickstarter. I also have a great book out there, the Kickstarter Launch Formula. Audible is doing a promo. You can get a free copy of the Kickstarter Launch Formula if you get a free 30-day trial of Audible. So there's so many different resources out there. Sink your teeth into this. Make this a priority in your life. Put a stake in the ground and say, I'm gonna figure this out. Because I'm telling you, the puzzle pieces are there out there on the counter, and I already have proven strategies that you can use to assemble this together into a nice looking, beautiful puzzle. You just gotta use them. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. My name is Salvador Briggman. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Leave a positive, inspirational comment down below, and I'll see you next time.